Greetings, everyone. I'm Pastor Dan from Calvary Chapel in Cle Elum, Washington. Today we're starting a new series of devotions as we continue our journey through the book of Colossians. I'm calling it Complete in Him from Colossians 2, 8-15. Let me start off with this episode by sharing a true story that I think illustrates what's at stake in this. On November 24th in 1971, a storm was making its way toward Portland, Oregon, coming from the west. It was rainy, windy, and dreary, a rather normal day for that part of the country at that time of the year. An airline ticket from Portland to Seattle, Washington, was purchased by a man in his mid-40s. He sat in the back of the plane, and he summoned the flight attendant, and he presented her with the note once the plane had climbed into the sky. That note indicated why he was flying on that flight. He was going to and intending to and actually hijacking the plane. He had her sit next to him, and subsequently he unzipped his carry-on bag and he revealed to her an explosive device containing dynamite and wires. Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305 was now officially hijacked by a man known as Dan Cooper, or D.B. Cooper, which was, of course, not his real name. Cooper wanted 4 parachutes and $200,000 in $20 bills that weren't marked in any way. The airline agreed to his demand, and upon arrival at SeaTac, the plane was refueled, the money and the parachutes were brought onto the plane, the passengers were released, and the plane departed from Seattle, bound for Mexico. Cooper slipped on a parachute, unlocked the plane's back door, and leaped with the cash somewhere over the Washington state wilderness, not far from where I live in Cle Elum, Washington. Officially, no one has ever tracked down Dan Cooper. About $5,800 was recovered, buried on a sandy beach about 9 miles east of Vancouver. But really, that's all. On an American airliner, how did Dan Cooper manage to stow a bomb? Keep in mind that this happened in 1971, a year when American airports had very few security measures in place, including no screening gates and no means to detect explosives or weapons, no TSA. In 1971, airport security measures that are now standard practice did not exist. Consequently, Cooper assumed full command of a Boeing 727 along with all of its occupants. They landed where he demanded and did everything he said. The passengers and crew of Flight 305 lost all control over their lives. Indeed, they had been hijacked. Now, how does this relate to our passage today? Paul is concerned about the Colossae Christians because he doesn't want them to be taken over or hijacked by false teachings and vain philosophies. This new section of Paul's letter to the Corinthians tells them how they can keep from having this happen to them. First, he tells them in verse 8 to beware of the danger of being hijacked or deceived, as he puts it. It's a very real danger. Then he tells them to focus on the deity of Christ, because that truth is where our source of power is to live the Christian life, in verse 9. Then he speaks of our completeness in Christ in verses 10-15. We don't need the vain philosophies of the world to help us understand life. We have a complete salvation, a complete forgiveness, and a complete victory in Christ. We are complete in Him. So that's where we're going with our study today and in the next few weeks. It's important that we understand our completeness in Jesus Christ. We just need to stay focused on Him, and we'll have everything that we need to be what He wants us to be. So first off, we need to beware of the danger of being hijacked or deceived in our faith. It's a very real danger. Colossians 2:8 says, "Beware lest anyone cheat you through philosophy or empty deceit, according to the tradition of men, according to the basic principles of the world, and not according to Christ." Excuse me. The Greek root of the English word beware implies to be in a state of constant watchfulness. Therefore, the idea of always being vigilant. In other words, we should expect these competing ideologies and worldviews to confront us from all sides. As Christians, we must be vigilant to avoid having our faith hijacked and taken over. The term cheat from verse 8 originated in the military to characterize the treatment of a captured people by the victorious army. As plunder, they would abduct them and all of their belongings. So Paul warns the Christians in Colossae to be vigilant so that no one might deceive them in the faith or abduct them and take what belongs to them. Why? Well, in order to keep the joy that is ours in Christ from being taken away, in order to keep them from stealing the rest that is rightfully yours through Him, and in order to keep them from stealing your prize and holding you ransom. Paul doesn't want the devil to rip us off, so he is going to share with us how we can prevent it. Now, we're going to pick this up next week with verse 9, so I hope you'll join me for that. Okay, once again, it's been a blessing to be with you, and I hope it's been an encouragement to you, a blessing to you. If it has, do me a favor, click the like button, maybe share an encouraging word in the comment section, and please, would you share this with somebody that you think might benefit from it? And if you're watching on the Calvary Chapel Cle Elum YouTube channel, would you click that subscribe button, subscribe to our channel? And if you're in the Cle Elum area and you don't have a home church, would you consider joining us on Sunday morning at 10 a.m. at 417 East Railroad Avenue in Cle Elum, Washington? Again, this is Pastor Dan from Calvary Chapel Cle Elum. Thanks for spending this time with me today. May the Lord be with you and bless you. And until we're able to get together next week, my prayer is that God will help us to understand that we really are complete in Christ. In Jesus' name.